Hello, my name is Portia Kekana, and I'm an independent social protection policy specialist. This mini lecture looks deeper into the design choice, meaning who gets the benefit, the value or size of the benefit, and the rationale behind the two. We also discuss in more detail the universal and economic approaches to selection and identification. I would like to now discuss the economic versus universal approaches by presenting just a few examples of some main arguments behind each particular policy choice. The considerations underpinning these choices are often the main reasons why there's often very heated debates from all sides. For instance, you'd have economists and finance practitioners disagreeing very vehemently with social development practitioners. The first consideration is that of the ideological framework. On one side of the spectrum is an argument that is based on the principles of redistribution and equity. Those who uphold these are highly in favor of economic approaches, whereas those who oppose this approach and advocate for life cycle approaches believe that the state should leave no one behind in providing social protection. They argue that universal coverage eliminates exclusion that we often find in and comes with targeting errors. Another consideration is on fiscal constraints and efficiency. The proponents of poverty targeting maintain that due to limited resources, it is efficient to maximize impact by targeting the neediest of the population. On the other hand, believers in the life cycle approach feel that universal programs enjoy broader political support and have a larger multiplier effect on the economy. When it comes to political economic considerations, the argument in favor of economic selection or poverty targeting argue that the middle class prefer to support social assistance if assured that tax money will reach those really in need and will not promote dependency. But those in favor of universal coverage see it differently. They believe that the middle class will support social protection programs only when they also benefit from them. They also argue that the concept of the deserving poor is both paternalistic and segregating. The above three considerations are but a few examples of what informs choices that are made in deciding which people to prioritize. Other considerations would include social acceptability and social cohesion, as well as targeting accuracy and administration costs. These issues are covered and explained in detail in your summary notes, and in the interest of time, I will not dwell into them. Let us now shift our focus to various targeting methods that are used to identify people living in poverty. These are the 6 different targeting methods in economic selection. The first one is means test. Means test is an income or asset-based method. Eligibility for benefits is assessed individually or at the household level, and information is verified against independent sources. For instance, you may require to produce a salary slip from work that shows how much you earn. The other method is proxy means test, where eligibility is assessed per household or family using multiple indicators to determine poverty. A score is then normally used to determine eligibility. The third one is community-based targeting. Here, eligibility is normally determined by local authorities. Self-targeting or self-selection is a process where people themselves decide to join a scheme and wages are normally kept very low. An example of this is the public employment program. The next method is affluence or pension testing. This is a way to exclude the affluent or rich from the program. Those receiving public pensions or other forms of contributory benefits are also excluded from the scheme. The last one is a system of quotas, which is normally used for geographic areas to limit access to benefits. You will remember that we discussed this earlier under categorical approaches. Just to remind you, I did mention that sometimes a hybrid of approaches and or targeting methods are adopted to suit a particular policy context. The main pros and cons of each targeting method will vary based on the following: how easy or difficult they are to administer, the costs involved, the extent to which they are prone to abuse and or leakages, whether or not they are likely to have unintended negative consequences like work disincentives, ease of oversight or monitoring, social cohesion, and finally, targeting errors. Let me just give one example with means testing as a targeting method. If applied properly, it can be a very accurate tool of determining eligibility for social assistance benefits. It can also be very effective in limiting leakages and preventing inclusion or exclusion errors. However, it is administratively very demanding, and it also imposes high private and social costs to potential beneficiaries due to stigmatization. Additionally, it may result in perverse incentives, where some people may resolve not to take up work opportunities for the fear of losing their benefits. Now, finally, I want to quickly highlight other challenges in the process of poverty targeting. If not carefully managed, this can pose a real risk of budgetary constraints to social protection programs. The first one is administrative costs. Poverty targeting mechanisms usually require many people, more information, and many steps to identify people living in poverty. Determining and ensuring eligibility, therefore, comes at a very huge cost. The second challenge is perverse incentives. If benefits are set at a rate similar to real wages, it can often lead to work disincentives. The third one is the challenge of moral costs. It is not uncommon for people to cheat or lie about their income or assets in order to qualify for a benefit. Furthermore, the ethical question of which poor are more deserving than others is also often asked. Let us now quickly recap. We discussed the different approaches to social protection, i.e., universal, categorical, and economic approaches in detail. We have also discussed their strengths and their weaknesses. We further discussed different targeting methods for economic selection, as well as whether to target or not to target. This last bit further elucidated other challenges relating to poverty targeting. I hope this has helped you better understand this module summary for selection and identification. This brings us to the end of this session, and I hope you have enjoyed this session. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time.